everyone, this is Mindy Eggen and welcome back to another video. In today's video, we are going to do some faux stamp layering. So we're going to make this look like multiple layers to an image when really we're only using the one stamped image. So this video is a part of a series that I'm doing featuring the August 2021 release from Gina K designs. And even though I'm featuring the products from the release, you can use these techniques with any of the products you may already have on hand. Here's a look at the stamp set that I'll be using today. This is the Bloom and Grow stamp set from Gina K Designs. It has some great elements in here. It has a solid image and also the outline, and then some great leaf images as well. I love these beautiful sunflower images, so I'm going to take them and stamp them onto some white cardstock, but instead of using black ink, I thought I would use a dark brown. So this is dark chocolate ink from Gina K Designs, and I'm stamping the outlines down first. I'm going to use my stamping bug to just apply even pressure across my Misty door, and I am going to stamp these again. I like to have a couple on hand in case I mess up or I don't like a certain color combination. I like to stamp them a couple times while I have everything in place. And because I like to have a grouping of 3 flowers, I will stamp the little one a second time. Now I'm going to take the solid parts of these images and line them up. I placed a piece of acetate. This is actually right from the stamp set, and I covered that over my cardstock while I was getting those stamped images in place. Now I'm going to stamp some sweet corn ink. So this is a really nice light yellow, and I did just kind of brush my hand over the stamp set, make sure I'm kind of getting off any residue or anything that might be stuck to my stamp set. It kind of helps condition the stamps for me. So I stamped those down, and now I'm leaving my stamped images in place, and I am going to take the Wild Dandelion ink cube, and this is where we're going to kind of give the look of a layered stamp without having additional stamps. I'm taking the Wild Dandelion ink cube and just dabbing around the outer edges of the flowers. I'll do it to both the larger image and the smaller image. I kind of tilt my ink cube as I'm dabbing around those edges, and sometimes you can get impressions of the actual ink cube itself. So what I like to do is just take my blending brush and just lightly dab towards the inside. That kind of helps smooth those edges out. Then I can just close the door of my Misty and stamp those down, and I'm going to let this dry for a little bit. It always is best if you're adding layers of color to your images to let them dry in between. A lot of times the colors will kind of dry back. They smooth out beautifully, but they also kind of dry back. So because of that, I am going to ink this up one more time with the Wild Dandelion and stamp that down. And I'm also doing the same thing to my other piece of cardstock that I have kind of off on the side. So I did that off screen. So one set of flowers I'm going to leave as is, but another set of flowers here I'm going to bring in prickly pear, and this just adds a little bit more contrast to the image. And then once again, taking the blending brush and just dabbing the inside of it to kind of smooth those edges out. So you can see how we have a lot of contrast here. And it looks like we have multiple layers of a stamped image, but really it's just the one stamp. Now off screen, I will take the coordinating dies and die cut those out. But for right now, I am going to work on a wreath that I'm going to add to my card. So I am bringing in the large wreath builder. I also am using the inside pieces of that because I cut mine to the smallest size, which I will list at the top of the screen here. And then I'm bringing in that middle piece. Now this middle piece that I'm placing on top of the cardstock has etched circle lines in there, and that's going to help me line up my image and just get an idea of how far it's going to stick out on my cardstock. This is one of the leaf images from the Bloom and Grow stamp set. I love how Lisa just has such a great variety on her stamp sets that are great for wreaths, and I use them a lot in my wreaths. So once I have that image placed, I'm going to remove the inside piece, leave my cardstock there, make sure it's lined up in the corners, and hold that down with my magnet. And then I'm going to stamp the wreath in Jelly Bean Green ink. So I'm going to stamp that down and then turn this to fit this into the corners and stamp again. And you will notice that my cardstock is hanging out of the side of my Misty. That is totally okay. This is what makes this large wreath builder work. So you can create larger wreaths and still use your original size Misty. I will continue just turning my cardstock to fit into the corners of that wreath builder until I have a complete wreath done. And you could also use that inking technique I showed you previously. You could use that with your leaves as well. Once I have this all stamped out, I do die cut out a panel of it using the Master Layouts 5, and then I'm bringing this over to my Misty tool. So I have my sunflowers cut out, lined up in my Misty about where I want them, and I'm going to bring in a sentiment that is off of the Grateful Greenery stamp set. So this is a wonderful stamp set with some great sentiments for your wreath builders. And this is actually this is an incentive set for the month of August. This will be available for purchase later on the website. But for right now, it is an incentive set I will have more information about over on my blog. And then when I have that lined up, I remove my flowers and stamp that sentiment down in the Obsidian ink. Off screen, I layered together 3 more pieces of cardstock that is cut to the same size as that front panel. That just adds dimension. You could also use your foam tape. And then I'm placing this into my Misty. I have a piece of white cardstock here cut to 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And I'm holding that down in my Misty. This is just going to help me align my front panel up so I have even spacing around the edges. So I really like that trick. Now I can just go ahead and start attaching my flowers. So I laid them out about where I would want them to go. I'm placing the smaller flowers down with a tape runner, and the larger sunflower here I'm going to add some white foam squares to, and they do hang off of that front panel just a little bit, but it doesn't hang off the entire card front. So this all still fits into my regular size envelope. And then I'm going to finish this off with some clear quartz solid sequins from Gina K Designs and just use my Connect glue and my pickup tool to attach those. And then that will finish off my card. So I hope this gives you some inspiration to take any of your solid image stamps and just add additional color to it to make it look like a stamp, layered stamp versus just the single stamped image that you may have. I will have all of the supplies listed down below in the video description and over on my blog as well. And at the end here, I'm going to list one of the videos that is a part of this series. I will also include the other video that I have a part of this Gina K Designs series as well. Thanks so much for joining me, and I'll see you again soon.